If you ask me what I thought about pirates, I would tell you they're awesome. But on a deeper level, I tell you they're absolute goofballs. From the 1650s to the 1730s, piracy peaked. It was in its heyday. Pirates were running rampant. The golden age of piracy is actually what it was called. But it still exists in some facets today. Take Somalia, for example. Somali pirates taking advantage of Africa's longest coastline, often boarding merchant ships or oil tankers, either taking everything that's on the ship and selling it on the black market or holding the crew for ransom. I can't sit here and tell you pirates used to look this good. I'm not gonna lie. I might have to be a pirate year-round. In this video, I will be your captain, matey, and I will tell you everything you need to know about pirates. Maybe it's not the video you expected yourself to click on, but you already did. So watch and learn. I'm gonna avoid the yap, I'm gonna lock in, and I'm gonna tell you some quick pirate information. Thank me later and subscribe now. What was life like on the pirate ship? Well, here's the bad news. It's far from the glamour that you're seeing in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Jack Sparrow doing that dance, you know. Ideally, all the pirates have to live the Jack Sparrow life. They didn't. Their food was extremely basic. Their main form of nourishment was something called hardtack, which is basically just water and flour smushed together. They called it biscuits sometimes, and most of the time it was infected with insects. They would sometimes turn the lights off so that when they ate it, they didn't have to realize that they were eating insects. It is said that pirates also ate fish. That's pretty given, but overall, their diets were not very enjoyable, which leads us to the idea of scurvy. You might have heard of it. The disease that pirates get when they do not get enough vitamin C. Here are some depictions of scurvy. No bueno. You don't want scurvy. Eat your vegetables. Eat your fruits. Statistically, pirates have lower incidence of scurvy than Navy sailors because they used to mix their rum with lime juice and other citruses, unknowingly combating the disease. Look at that, pirates know a thing or two. What was pirate combat like? They were always boarding enemy ships, swinging rope to rope, right? Taking their sword, unwielding it. No, not that glamorous either. Combat on the high seas was brutal, okay? Pirates carried multiple pistols, most of the time because their chambers got waterlogged and the bullets wouldn't even fire. You've seen the massive cannons on pirate ships in the movies? Yeah, those existed, but it wasn't most of the time that cannonballs were doing the damage. It was the cannonballs going into the wooden ships, splintering the piss out of the wood and causing all this wood shards to go everywhere. And commonly, this would lead people to have limbs chopped off, boom, pirate hook, there you go. Enzo elaborates. Imagine you're just sitting there and a cannonball hits your ship, splinter right in your eye patch, pet parrot on your shoulder, name it Ralph. Your best friend, but you don't have an eye. Drowning was also pretty common among pirates. Most of them didn't even know how to swim, allegedly. Any ship that capsized, survival was abysmal. It was very unlikely, especially for those who were injured, which was usually most of them. And the cherry on top, sharks used to follow pirate ships around in the anticipation of waste coming off the board. So if you were in the water and you weren't injured and you were able to swim, probably gonna be someone's lunch. And when I say someone, I mean shark. Let's tie this into their day-to-day, their health, their hygiene. Did they take care of themselves like a guy like me who uses deodorant twice a day? Ask my friends, I reapply. Medical supplies were of course scarce, and if there was a doctor on board, high probability that he's not very experienced, because why would an experienced doctor mess with these pirate antics if he could go get a stable job that could support his family? Infection from battle wounds, very common, and if untreated, which they usually were untreated, they could be fatal. Disease ran rampant on these pirate ships, just like anywhere else in the world in the 1700s, 1800s, 1600s. Y'all know the stories. Pirate ships usually didn't even have clean water because they kept their water in barrels, and they would open the barrels and dudes would just take their dirty fists and their dirty mugs and just dip it in and start slugging, but that dirt's gonna build up in that water. So this is in the research, so of course, I mean, it's almost implied. The stench on board was overwhelming. Deodorant didn't exist. A lot of dudes would get seasick and they would just vomit on the ship. That would build up. They didn't really do a good job of cleaning that. This is all research. I don't know what you want me to tell you, but if I was a pirate, I would have been different. I would have had the Dior Sauvage. No, I don't use that, but some people use it. I think it's a good aroma, just not for me. Not my type. Toilets also on pirate ships, an absolute luxury. Most of them didn't have them. What they would do is they'd grab a rope and they'd hang off the side and they'd do their number one or two, if you will, hanging off the side. I doubt they wiped. That was the least of a pirate's concern. Arg. I mentioned the golden age of piracy earlier. What was that about? I'll tell you. In this 80-year window, from the 1650s to the 1730s, there were thousands of pirates at sea. That's kind of crazy. Thousands of pirates. The most infamous include Blackbeard, Henry Morgan, and William Captain Kidd. Blackbeard. You've heard that one before, I feel like. His real name was Edward Teach. He became infamous for his terrifying tactics. In one notable instance, he blockaded the port of Charleston, South Carolina in 1718. Holding the entire town hostage, he demanded a chest of medicine in exchange for the safe return of captured citizens. The audacious move solidified his reputation as one of the most feared pirates of his time. Henry Morgan took his band of buccaneers and went into Panama City in 1671, and he captured it, became extremely wealthy from it. Captain Kidd, initially a privateer who was meant to hunt down pirates, but he loved the game too much and became one himself. He was tried, convicted, and executed in 1701. People tell the tale of his name, though. Isn't that what matters? And another famous pirate that some of you might know, and I mentioned him earlier, Captain Jack Sparrow. What a legend. Love the guy. Went for him as Halloween 2 years ago. I'll post a picture of it right there. Based on a pirate that lived from the 16th century to the 17th century named John Ward, who was known for his flamboyant pirating style. Here's a special segment of Enzo Elaborates where I imitate the Jack Sparrow walk and then say one of his quotes. You can always trust a dishonest man to be dishonest. So for a recap, the pirate life is glamorized in the movies. It was pretty harsh, but I will say those dudes had freedom. You could live at home, be with your family and be happy, or you can go out to those lawless seas and just wait for what the next wave brings. These days, to feel something, people go skydiving and cliff jumping and scrolling TikTok, when in reality, you could have just sailed the 7 seas with a pint of rum in your hand and figured, I might die today. It smells like absolute dung all around me, but at least I'm a pirate. Arrgh. This has been another certified Enzo Elaborates Hood Classic. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I want to make more videos. It's easier to be more motivated if more people subscribe and say, wow, this was a pretty good video, my man. And I say, all right, man, I appreciate that. Hopefully you learned something about pirates. I bet you did. Comment, liking helps the algorithm. I can't explain this enough. I'm just gonna say this right here. If you watch the video and you like any part of it, just click like. It doesn't hurt you, but it helps me, and it's free. And I would do a lot of things for many of you, but not everything, because I'm a man of morals, unlike these pirates out here. Until next time.